We've got just a couple announcements here to go through before we get started with Oklahoma. First of all, welcome on behalf of the Orange Bowl Committee, the host of the 2009 BCS National Championship game. All of you should have received a copy of today's daily schedule passed out to you as you got into your appropriate rooms. Please take a close look at that. Sometimes there's some updates overnight, and that's important that you follow that schedule rather than the one that you might have been presented earlier. Also, by 7 o'clock each night, we will email to you a copy of the schedule for the next day to help you plan your schedule for that day. If you are not on the email list and want to receive that, please get with Rebecca up in the media headquarters, which is one floor above us. You also have the quotes from each daily press conference here at the hotel, as well as the practice relayed to you via email schedules. We've got the practice schedules. It's very important that you take a look at that on that daily schedule relative to the times, when the videographers and photographers can shoot, if there's any availability for the coaches and or players. It also has information on there relative to the media shuttles trying to get from the hotels to the appropriate practice sites. Security, obviously, is very important with all national championship games. Very important, everybody, for the benefit of the Orange Bowl Committee, wear your security badges to help the hotel and help the committee finalize a lot of things. Please turn off your cell phones, especially those of you here in the broadcast room, so that those do not ring while we're doing the press conferences. Lunch today, 12 to 2 in Salon E. Dinner tonight, 6 to 8, poolside. Hospitality room, 11:55, opens at 6 p.m. Just a reminder what we're going to do here roughly for 20 minutes. We'll have these three gentlemen here. The other four Oklahoma players are in the other room for the print. And then after 20 minutes, we will rotate. Okay, so we've got Kevin Wilson, the offensive coordinator, Phil Loadholt, and Chris Brown. We'll start with Coach, just a general recap of your preparations to this point. While he's asking that question, if those of you in the audience, please put your hands up and we'll start getting you mics.
Good morning. Happy New Year. We have had some practices back in Norman prior to coming, kind of game preparation as always with bowl practice. You get a little young guy work. Prior to Christmas, we've had some bowl prep, give the guys New Year's Day off, traveled yesterday, had a light go, and we start our routine. In our world, today is Monday. And with the game coming next Thursday. So we're on a Monday routine with our meeting schedule, practice schedule, have a fair amount of stuff, quote, in place that we've already been, have already practiced. And guys have traveled. Everybody's here. Everybody's ready to go. Hotel's fine. We're ready to roll.
Coach Wilson, Donovan Cam from WSBN Fox here in Miami. Quick question. What makes Sam Bradford so dynamic as a quarterback?
I think a combination, I think he's a better athlete than given credit for. He's a guy that's, tremendous in a lot of sports. His athletic family, mom's a PE teacher, dad's a former college athlete, et cetera. So, coming from an athletic background, played a lot of sports, a lot of competitive environments that he's been a part of. As a football player outside then the physical skill, he can mentally process, play within himself. He can handle a lot mentally and not stress out, and he's surrounded by a nice complementary group of players. I don't know individually if we have a bunch of players individually that stand out on their own as individually great players, but collectively, when you put our line with our tight ends and our receivers and backs, he's complemented by a quality group across the board, and those guys collectively, we play together very good, and he's the guy managing the whole deal.
Phil, this is for you. What has he meant to this team thus far in the past couple of years that he has been a quarterback?
He meant a lot to us. He's been a great leader. On and off the field, he's a guy you can look up to. Just the way he takes over in practice and everything he does, he's a leader, and he's definitely been a lot to us.
And Chris, you're in the backfield with him all the time. Talk just the leader that he is and the pep talks that he gives you guys. Maybe when you guys haven't been down much at all this season, but what does he do different than any other quarterback you've worked with in the past?
Well, everybody knows him as being quiet, but, he's a vocal leader also. He compliments the team. He always keeps us up. If we in 3 and out of drive, he always come back with motivation to, get something going on the next drive. So, I think that plays a big part in everybody's confidence and having faith in him.
Coach, this is Larry Vitale at Sun Sports. Would like you to talk about your scheme and the pressure you put on defenses and how you go about maintaining that tempo as you attack opposing defenses?
Well, the first thing I think our guys in doing, we need to learn how to practice, and we need to learn how to coach that way, that we can practice that way. You don't play fast, or you don't play fast break basketball if you never practice it. But the real key is not the tempo as much as it's the execution, because if you don't execute and you go 3 plays and out, there's no stress on there's no drive. So the key is, your third down conversions. Your key is your ability to eliminate negative plays. And to us, I think that's more pleasing than anything else, is that as well as we might have played or points that have been scored, we're more proud of the negatives. Like, our goals are not to score. We don't have a goal total or a yard total or a rushing or a passing. Our goals are, and they can tell you, how many missed assignments do we have in this game? How many negative plays do we have in this game? How many turnovers do we? And we chart the negatives and try to minimize the negatives. And when you don't shoot yourself in the foot offensively, you have a chance to get rolling. And then, being a no-huddle team, as we execute, then the tempo has effect. But if you don't execute and you go 3 and out and you're sitting on the bench, it's null and void. So to me, that's the real key, is the way our kids have executed, the way our coaches have been able to coach and teach these guys in practice, that they can transfer that onto the field.
And I'd like to ask each of the players to comment on that, the tempo, and what it's like when you can tell opposing defenses are really winded and you're just getting going.
The tempo is great. I think as long as you're in shape, you should be able to handle the tempo that we do. And it feels good to look across and see the defense breathing hard.
Well, I think this is a great system that we run here, and you have to be in shape, like Phil say, and you have to be focused every snap, and it works to our advantage, I feel.
Coach first, and then the players. Brent Martineau from Fox and CBS in Jacksonville. How has anything changed with Sam since he won the Heisman, and also how much pride do you guys take in him winning that?
Personally, again, it's a group deal for us, and I fortunately have been a part of that with other players, where we've won it with Jason White before, and been there close with he and Adrian, so I've been a part of that. But it's a team process. I think the only thing that's probably changed with Sam is he's probably getting tired of all the media requests and autograph hound guys. But that comes with the territory. But he's we didn't. That wasn't our goal this year, and it wasn't our goal down the stretch. And it wasn't our goal down the stretch to have style points. Our goal was to play as good as we could, practice as hard as we could, go out and play. Our players embraced that. Because of that, we've had some individual accolades, and that's a great honor for him. He's deserving and proud of him. But our whole focus this year has been on our group and our team, and I think these guys would tell you we're proud of him, but it's been a great group effort.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely was proud for him, and he definitely deserved it, worked hard. It was exciting to see our quarterback win that, and we take a lot of pride in that, definitely.
Well, I'm another guy that's, proud for Sam, and, he's the first guy to give everybody around him credit for, being able to win the Heisman Trophy, and, he's a humble guy, and, it's nothing changed about him. I don't see anything that's changed about him. He's been the same guy since week 1.
Steve Lehman, Fox in Tulsa. To Phil and Chris, this is the second game ever where 2 Heisman Trophy quarterbacks have gone against each other. Do you take any extra motivation in sort of proving that Sam's the real Heisman winner and that you guys kind of have to back him up in this game?
No, I don't think that's extra motivation. They both the real Heisman winner. They both got the Heisman. We're definitely proud that Sam got it this year. Like I said, he was deserving. But I don't think we need any kind of extra motivation from the Heisman for this game.
And I feel the same way. Let's feel.
Coach Larry Vitalik, will you talk about the Florida defense? What stands out about it to you as you prepare for them?
In general, just their team in general, there's, it's coming out of a region with a lot of great players. So you got a lot of great speed. You got tradition, playing in a great league. They match up and play against everyone every week. They can pressure from the field, from the boundary, a lot of challenging. They make you compete. They make you pick up their pressures. They play a fair amount of man or match coverage where there's a lot of one-on-one competitive plays. And, of course, they got great athletes that can cover. and their players up front. Their linebacker Spikes, is a big-time player in the middle, but their edge players that rush and their front four kind of set the tone. With the athletes, they can get to all kinds of nickel with 5 and 6 DBs to match you up if they need to. So, again, statistically, they've played great every week. They've played great against every team. And it's a very complete. They're well coached. I know Coach Strong personally, know him well, and their staff. With Coach McCarney, used to be in our league, and all those guys. So we got a lot of respect for their staff, and we know they got great players. And it's a very challenging scheme, and it's proven week after week. And it's a young crowd, but it's a crowd that's gotten better. And I think that's probably what's exciting to them is that they've seen these guys week after week embrace and get better. And I bet you they're probably excited about the opportunity and challenge and know their best football's ahead. And I'm sure they're looking forward to playing it this coming week. So it'll be a great challenge, but it's also a fabulous opportunity, and we're looking forward to competing against them.
There is so much talk about their speed, especially on offense. Do you guys obviously see that on defense? Can you just elaborate on that a little bit more? And does it really pop on film? Or
well, when you play any of the upper level teams, when you play in this game, you're not going to. I mean, I'd love to play in this game and play a dud team, but it doesn't come with the territory of the national championship game. So, you're going to see a bunch of guys that are fast, that can cover. Again, you see guys in the back end that can make competitive plays and challenge you on every throw. You see guys on the edge that can create pressure on your quarterback and stress out your offensive line. They attack you with blitzes where you've got to be able to pick them up and all that. So, again, it's just no different than the majority of, top 5, 8, 10, 15 teams you watch. I mean, it's a tremendous challenge. And again, they do have, great speed on offense. But, when you come out of the state and you're going to play for one of the 3 schools in the state, you're going to be a fast player. It comes with the territory.
Sean Mariner, Palestra.net. This one's for Phil and Chris. I know you guys are going to talk a ton of football this week, but you're college students. What do you guys do to get away from football off the field?
Well, I mean, it's football. It's the last game of the season. So, going out to the big bash on Wednesday, if there's one, is not important right now. So, we're focused on football. That's what we're down here for. And this is the national championship. So that said alone is enough for us to just focus on that and totally focus on that.
Yeah, I agree. We said like I said, we need no extra motivation for this game. I mean, it's we're playing on the biggest stage we could play on. So, I mean, we definitely came out here focusing and got a task at hand.
Coach, could you talk about Gresham and the way you guys use him and just the impact he has on defenses?
Jermaine's a very talented player, and he's a young guy that's in his 3rd year, still getting better. He he's got a unique size, where he's 260-ish, 261 too. So he physically is big enough to be a blocker, but he's also athletic enough that he can play out in space and be a nice receiver. Where he has, he's still learning how to block. Meaning he was a big high school receiver. He played in the slot, so he's really great in filling coverages and how to run routes and leverages. But in the blocking game, he's really now got 2+ years, finishing his 3rd year now. And not that he's a bad blocker. It's kind of, to me, he's very unique, and to me, I think he's the most complete tight end in the country. There's some guys that can block, and there's some guys that can catch, but he can do it both. We can put 2 big tight ends on the field, and we can block. And we can then also get out there in space, where I think he's got 22, 3, 4 touchdowns the last 2 years. So he's an unusual matchup. He's a very competitive kid. He's a very prideful kid. He's a young man that is he's a joy to practice, and he loves to play. And in his own ways, he's not much different than some of our great players like Adrian Peterson, those guys that he loves to practice. He loves to work hard. He gets after it. And so he's got some unique skills, but he's probably a better kid and a better person than guys know. And I think these guys would tell you we got a bunch of nice, really good players. We got a bunch of great kids, and that's why we got a heck of a team right now.
Phil, last year in the Fiesta Bowl, West Virginia had kind of speedy guys on the edges, gave you guys some problems, and it was one of your worst offensive performances of the year. Florida seems somewhat similar on tape. How do you guys look at this matchup? Are you doing anything different, maybe against the speedy front line this time?
We've been dealing with a lot of speed all year since that bowl game last year. So, I mean, we did some things to work on as far as in the summertime and things like that. I mean, we're not doing anything different, though.
Chris, anything at your end?
Oh, well, I'm not going to compare last season's Fiesta Bowl to this season. And, like Coach said, everybody has speed. A lot of teams have speed. And, we just preparing ourselves as best as we can to be ready for Thursday night.
Hands up. Any more questions? Hands up.
John.
Hey, Larry.
Chris, could you talk a little about DeMarco missing this game, how hard it is, and do you feel at all like maybe you're playing for him a bit with more responsibility come Thursday night?
Well, it's very disappointing, for a fellow teammate and friend, and I feel bad for him. I'm sorry for the situation that happened, and he's been nothing but positive towards me. Going into the game, boost confidence, boost and stuff like that. I think that everybody's playing for everybody. I think the whole team is playing for everybody, and he's included in the team, so he's included in the team effort for playing for everybody for the ultimate goal.
And Coach, if you touch on Chris as a player and how much of a load he can take with DeMarco's absence.
Well, this year we've had, for years, if anyone's covered us, we've had some situations where players have went down, and fortunately we've had a lot of guys pick it up and play well. This year for us, Brody Elridge got hurt, and our tight ends had to pick it up, and we still did our tight end groups and our big guys and multiple. And Brody Elridge, these guys will tell you, he's one of my favorite players. He's a heck of a player for us. Manuel Johnson was our hot receiver and went down, and Quentin Chaney came in and played great. You saw how Moses came in and complimented us in the championship game when DeMarco went out on the first. Like Chris was saying, to us, the real story is not our team. Our team is a great group that will kind of cover up for itself. It's you feel for a kid missing. You don't get this game every Saturday. This game doesn't sit out there every week in our world. This game is once a year for two teams, and you got a heck of a player and a great kid missing this one. So that's our story. We kind of feel like Chris was saying. We kind of feel for him. Chris, a quality player. We'll try to do again what our deal is to try to attack the defense with the ability to adjust if it's running a lot or passing a lot, but it comes down to our execution. We'll be able to complement Chris with Moses. We'll play. We have to attack each defense differently because of their schemes and what they do. So every game plan is not the same, but we have phenomenal confidence. I mean, Chris is our quote in the media world. He's the second team tailback, yet he's our leading rusher, and I think he's about 6th or 7th in the nation in scoring touchdowns. So he's not a bad deuce. So that's not too bad.
Any questions? We've got about 5 minutes left before we rotate, so if anybody's got any questions, let's get hands up. Right over here.
To both of the players, 5 straight games of 60-plus points. Can you just talk about the feeling of every time you step on the field, each series, you expect to score, and then also kind of the expectation you have for yourself going into this game?
I think that, like Coach said earlier, we never have a goal on what we try to score when we get in the game. I think every offense's goal when they step on the field is to score. And just coming into this game, we're going to just do the things we've been doing all year because it seemed to work so far.
Yeah, I think our execution and preparation during the week allows us to do big things on the field. And, we, like Phil say and Coach say, we never just say, well, let's go out and score 70 points or 65 points or 55 points or whatever. We just want to do whatever it takes to win, and if it score 1,000 points, then we're going to try to do it.
Do you feel unstoppable, though?
Well, no, I don't feel like we're unstoppable. I feel like when we're clicking and we got things going, we're a great unit. We still got things that we can work on, and we still got things that we can build on. And that's why we're here, to prepare right and put ourselves in a position.
This is for both the players. Guys, I don't know how much time you spent, if at all, following what's going on with other bowl games, but some of the other Big 12 teams have produced a little bit below their level that they've been producing at normally during the season, like Texas Tech and Missouri and whatnot. Do you follow that? Do you pay attention to that? Does that really mean anything to you guys?
I mean, I've watched the games, and you always want to see your Commerce do good in the bowl games. And I mean, as far as why that happened, I mean, that's with them. So I mean, you always want to see your Commerce do good in the bowl games, though.
Yeah, that's a whole totally different team. We're in the same conference, but that's Texas Tech, and that's Oklahoma State, and this Oklahoma, and we focus on what we have to do, and in our game and the situation that we're in.
Got time for one more question? Anybody? Okay, Kevin, players, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Jermaine Gresham, John Cooper, Sam Bradford, Joaquin Iglesias. We're ready to go ahead and start with questions. Please address your question individually to the given player. If you only want that one player to respond, if you want all four, please say so. Hands up and we'll get started.
This one's for Sam. Sam, you before this, your offensive coordinator was in here, and he was asked about just what it's been like for you since the Heisman. He said he thought you were probably, as much as anything, just sick of talking to us. I mean, how has it been? What's been the impact on you? And now with it being game week, can you finally kind of just relax and get back down to football?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Heisman experience was something really special. It was fun to be in New York, but I think as soon as I got back to Norman, I just tried to get back to being as normal as I could, and I think I did that and got back to finishing school and got back to practice.
First for Joaquin and then Jermaine, by the way, Donovan Camp from WSVN here, Fox in Miami. What makes Sam Bradford so great, Joaquin?
I think just him reading the defense and his poise in the pocket and him being a great leader for this offense. Everything about Sam makes Sam a great player for us.
I guess not for you, Jermaine, same question.
I guess you could say his passion for the game, just the way he approaches it and his hard work towards it.
Well, Sam, I won't put you on the spot and ask you what makes you so great, but what makes you so dynamic and different from other quarterbacks around the nation?
That's hard to say, but, I put a lot of work into it in the off season, in the film room, just trying to be, as prepared as I can be for when the game comes and when I've had opportunity to be out there and play with these guys.
Sean Mariner, Palestra.net. Sam, this one's for you. When you guys got off the plane yesterday, I saw you were taking pictures with flight attendants, pilots. Is all of this, does this ever get old to you? Do you ever just want to kind of hide away?
Yeah, there's times where, you just kind of want to go where no one knows your name. And, sometimes it gets old, but, it's really cool, having the opportunity to take pictures with people, give someone something that, they'll have forever and they'll enjoy.
Steve Lehman, Fox in Tulsa. Sam, the history of Heisman winners in this game has not been real good. After going through this experience, can you point to any reason why that may be, and can you point to a reason why it's not going to happen to you on Thursday?
It's really hard for me to talk about previous winners and, the difficulties they've had in their bowl game because I wasn't there when they were on their trip, so I don't know what they got caught up doing and, how they prepared for the game. But, I know as soon as I got back from New York, I forgot about that experience, got back to business, getting ready to prepare for this game and help my team win.
Sam, I know during the whole Heisman thing, you and Tim got a chance to meet. Just talk about him outside of the game of football, and everybody's always talking about what a nice guy he is as well as yourself. Just talk about Tim a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's a great guy. And I think one of the coolest things was when we were in Orlando and got to see the piece on him and his family and what they do for people in the Philippines and how they try to help people across the world. And I think getting to meet someone and just talk to him about that was really cool.
This one's for Jermaine. Jermaine, could you just talk about the way you've evolved and become such a powerful part of this offense and how you see yourself matching up against Florida?
I'm just another read in the offense, so We just go through processes and stuff like that. So it just happens as it happens. So hopefully I'll be a big impact in this game. Hopefully I'll block well. Oh, the matchup with Florida? A great defense. I mean, very quick, very passionate defense. They fly around to the ball. So, I mean, hopefully I can find some holes in their defense, and hopefully we can pick them apart.
John, Jermaine, this one's for you guys. What's it like to sit up there next to a guy who gets asked so many questions? His name's called so much, and you just kind of sit there and hunch over. What's that like? Do you ever get bothered by it, or do you like poke him under the table? What do you do?
Well, I'm just excited you asked me a question. It's great. It's fun to watch Sam. I mean, he earns everything he got, and I mean, he's done a great job with it. But like he said, as soon as he's been back from New York, he's been business as usual. He's just regular Sam to us.
I don't like doing this anyway, so I'm happy you asked him the question.
Guys, this is really for all four of you. I know that if you win the game, you're going to be the champions, and you'll be plenty proud of that. But what would you say to somebody from Utah? They won their game last night. They're undefeated. Obviously, they're going to feel like they got left out no matter who wins this game. What would you say to those guys or any team that feels like, hey, we had as much right to be there as the two teams that are there? In the end, can this system really be completely fair?
I don't think there is a perfect system, and if they get left out, I don't know. I'd tell them sorry. I mean, they did everything they could. They won all their games. They did everything that was asked of them. But there's not really a perfect system.
The other three players to answer that same question. Sam?
Yeah. Obviously, it's the system we have, and it's the system we have to deal with. And, whether it's fair or not, it's not for us to say. And, for the Utah players, I really don't know what you would say to them. I mean, to go 13-0 and not have a shot, to be in this game, it's obviously tough for them. But, it's the system we have, and it's the system we have to deal with.
Joaquin?
I mean, what to say to them is hard to say, but, I mean, the most you can do is just keep winning. I mean, they did a great job, and for them to be left out, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
I'll tell them, great job. You did everything you was asked to do to be there.
This isn't really to anyone in particular, but if a couple could answer. You guys have scored 60-plus in 5 straight games, 700 for the year. No one's ever done that before. Do you ever feel unstoppable when you walk on the field?
For me, no. I mean, we lost the game already, and we haven't scored 60 all year. And I mean, that's not something we set out to do. And I mean, it's easy to get caught up in that you can't be unstopped, but anybody can get beat on any day.
Sam?
I don't know if we ever feel unstoppable, but I feel like as an offense, we are very confident in our abilities and what we do and how we play. So I think when we take the field, we're confident that we do have the ability to score every time we touch the football. But as far as going out there and setting a goal of scoring every time we touch it, that's something that we really can't get caught up in if we do get stopped.
John?
Yeah, like Sam said, we are very confident in our abilities, but like Wick also said that we don't go out there. We do go out there expecting to score every time, but we don't feel like we're unstoppable because we have been beat this season, and it's obvious that it could happen again if we think that if we just walk on the field, we think it's just going to happen because it won't.
Yeah, just what Coop said would be. I mean, we got beat this year, so we've been stopped before, so we can't be unstoppable.
This is for Sam. Sam, could you just talk about what you see from the Florida offense, what kind of things that our Florida defense, rather, what kind of things that they do, and maybe is there anybody they compare to that you've played so far this year with what they do scheme-wise?
Yeah, the Florida defense is a very good defense. I think it's probably one of the best defenses we've seen all year. They're very aggressive, especially in the secondary. They're not afraid to come up and play man coverage and jump routes. Their front four is extremely talented. So I don't know if you can really compare them to anyone that we've played this year. I would say, if anyone, it'd probably be similar to Texas.
This one for Sam. Sam, obviously, I'm sure you've seen Tim Tebow, whether on TV, film, whatever. Just talk about both you guys as field generals and just break down you guys a little bit.
I think Tim's a great player. I haven't had a chance to see him play a whole lot, but from what I have seen, he's a great leader on his team, not only a great player, and I think that he gets everyone else on his team motivated to go out there and play as hard as they can.
Questions? Got one back here. Barb.
Sam, I know you have said there hasn't been much change since you got back from Norman, but I mean, obviously the reality is it's a little different with you winning the Heisman. Can you talk about the layoff, though? And you guys are probably used to this by now, been through it a little bit, but what do you guys do? I mean, is it total focus even when you're off and home during the holidays a little bit, or you switch it on and off? I mean, how do you maintain that focus in studying for this game in particular?
I think there's kind of a balance that you have to come to as far as, when you're fully focused and when you allow yourself to take time off. Obviously, I think if you spend a month, trying to focus as hard as you can on this game, you'd burn yourself out before you got here. So I think you kind of have to find time to get away from it and just relax and forget about it. But then at the same time, I think it's something that you need to think about, not as much as possible, but as much as you can without getting burned out to make sure that you're ready for the opportunity.
Hands up, questions? Got one back here.
This one's for both John and Jermaine. Could you just talk about matching up with the Florida defensive line, what kind of things you see from them, and how you think things will go in the blocking?
Well, their defensive line they're really good up front. I mean, all four of them make plays. They're very active and fast and move around. And another thing they do really well is they free up their linebackers to make a lot of plays. And I think it's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be fun to play, and they're really good, and we look forward to the challenge.
I mean, what he just said, they free up their backers like they're real good, and they're big and fast, so it's going to be a challenge. So it's going to be go out there and have fun.
Questions? Hands up.
Sort of building off that a little bit, the last two games you guys lost, the Fiesta Bowl in Texas, it could be argued that the offensive line didn't play very well. John, do you guys do anything differently in this game? And Sam, what do you believe how far this offensive line has grown, why this will be different than those two games?
I don't think we do anything differently. I mean, it's not if we do, it's not really up to us. It's Coach Wilson and his scheme and his plan, and I think so far he has a great plan, and we're going to buy in and do what he asks us to do.
Yeah, I think our offensive line, obviously they're very experienced. They've played in big games. They know what this is going to be like. But I think really since the Texas game, since we've got beat, they've taken on a whole different attitude, especially towards the run game, and I feel like that's something that's really helped our offense.
Sam, how's the hand? Any issues in terms of?
Oh, no, it feels great. It's going to be fine.
Hands up. We've got about 3 minutes left.
Sam, you always hear about in the NFL if a quarterback or a running back has a huge game, they take the offensive line out for dinner or anything. Have you had to do that yet? And if so, are you broke yet?
As Coop will tell you, I took them out to eat last year, but unfortunately we lost the next week, so we kind of stopped that. But, when they come back to town in Norman, I do have something planned for them.
He takes care of us. He's all right.
Final question?
Guys, for any or all of you, just there's been reports about Bob Stoops and the Denver job. I know that doesn't affect what happens in the game this week, but has he even brought this up with you guys to say don't worry about it? Has it even come up at all?
No.
He hasn't brought anything up.
Okay, fellas, thank you very much for your time.